This is News Talk 1590 KBTA. I'm Lyn Fairly, and this is the Lyn Fairly and Fabulous Friends. And once again, I have an awesome show, really an amazing show this week. I want to welcome Rachel Flowers, Jeanie Flowers, and Lorenzo DeStefano, my guests today. And we're here to speak with Rachel about Hearing is Believing, a film that our wonderful Lorenzo DeStefano is doing. We'll talk about that later in the show, but first I want to welcome you, Rachel Flowers, to my show.
Hi.
Hi. And Jeanie,
Hi,
Rachel's
nice to meet
mom.
you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, too. Now, for those of you who don't know Rachel, you're about to know her, and I think the rest of the world is about to know her as well. Rachel, well, Jeanie, let's have you start because you're mom, and Jeanie, you're a talent in your own right. Jeanie, you and your husband played in bands and coffee houses way back when you were studying ethnomusicology at UCSB in Santa Barbara. And then Rachel was born. But tell us a little bit about your own music background and what is ethnomusicology?
Well, my parents are both musicians, so I kind of came into it naturally as well. Started playing the guitar when I was a kid at 12, started playing in bands at 16, and met Rachel's dad in high school. And we played in bands together for many years. I was studying music and went into ethnomusicology, which is, a lot of people just know it as world music. It's music of different cultures, studied Arab music, Indian music, American folk music. And that's what I was studying when Rachel appeared.
And thank goodness she did. You're going to hear right now a tune that Rachel's done. Spence, which one do we have?
We're going with Peaches and Regalia.
All right. This
Frank
is
Zappa.
by Frank Zappa, but Rachel's playing.
All the parts.
All the parts. All the parts.
Yep.
Every one of them. How many instruments are in that?
I don't remember. I just did. A lot.
A lot. A lot. And how old were you at that time?
That was just like recent.
And you're 20 years
20.
old now,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah.
You started at 2.5 years old. Your mom said you had a toy, and you started banging on the piano with the toy. And then your mother took your hands and showed you the keys. And from that point on, the only song they heard was Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star for about, what, a year or something like
don't
that?
remember.
Well, actually, she perfected that pretty quickly, and then she moved on to other things really fast. She would play,
Beethoven.
yeah, she was playing Fur-Elise.
Moonlight Sonata a little bit.
Yeah,
At 3?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Rachel was born with a disease that affected her eyesight. Mom, would you explain that to us?
Well, she was born 15 weeks premature, and there's a condition that frequently happens with premature babies. It's called retinopathy of prematurity, and it goes in and destroys the retinas. And they always checked preemie babies for that. They checked Rachel for it, and just as she was getting ready to come home from the hospital is when they detected it, and it came on very fast and very aggressively. And they tried to stop it, tried to save whatever eyesight they could, and they just couldn't.
So by about 3-ish, somewhere in that age, 3 months, I should say, right around there is when you knew that she wouldn't have sight.
Well, we knew that she had ROP at that point, and at that time we thought they could stop it. But she had a number of eye surgeries. By the time she was 3 years old, we knew that was it, that they couldn't save anything.
3 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes this all the more amazing. And partially why Lorenzo DeStefano wants to make a film about Rachel Flowers. It's not just because she doesn't have her sight, but it's because she's incredibly talented. I imagine she would have been with or without her sight because of her musical background. So that's what is of interest to me as well. Now, Rachel, you recently were at the Libby Bowl in Ojai, which is a very, very large venue, a big concert venue, and you held a concert there for the first time, and that type of an outdoor venue with a huge audience.
Yeah.
What was it like for you to be out of your studio, because you record, you write, and you live and you breathe music, and be outdoors at night, under the stars, and you could hear the audience? What was that like, that additional noise, the audience for you?
It was pretty exciting. Just from, I could tell just like when I hear the sound of a large crowd, I just knew it was going to be very, very exciting and a lot of fun.
So did you feel the energy of the crowd? You did.
Mm-hmm.
And how many instruments did you have up on stage there?
I had a piano, one of my Nord keyboards, and flute.
And flute.
Yeah, and voice.
And voice.
Singing.
So you do this all at the same time. I've seen you on YouTube. It's astonishing, where you have one hand on the keyboards, the other hand on the flute.
Yeah.
And you're doing both at the exact same time.
Yeah, I performed that at the Libby Bowl. It's a piece by Gary Shocker called Ambidextrinata.
And, I don't know if we'll be able to find that. Spence is pretty good
I'm
at
sure
this
we
type
will.
of stuff, but we'll be able to try and find this. And
It's hard to find a version with a good sound quality because they're kind of low quality.
Spence is sort of a genius in making things sound good, and so are you. But you'd be extra sensitive to that, I realize.
Yeah.
I realize that. Yeah. I'm going to ask you another question about how you kept track of your song list on during the concert. I think you had a Braille list of songs. Yeah. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. So where was the free hand? If you had one in the flute, one on the keyboard. How did you keep track of your sound list? Was it just right there next to you, and then you would reach up? And
it was like on top of the piano.
I see. And with just your fingertips, you could tell which songs you had done, which you were doing, and which was next. And that, of course, you would never lose track of that.
Yeah.
That's also really remarkable. At what age did you learn to read Braille?
I don't really remember. I was probably like 3 or 4 or something like that.
Oh, that early? Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't realize you could start that early. That makes total sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Mom, you leaned in. You want to say something about that?
Yeah. They started teaching her Braille in preschool, and it's a long process because there are a lot of symbols. There's the 26 for the letters, and then there are for
6 dots.
Yeah, all in 6 dots.
All in 6 dots. Everything is configured in just
those 6 dots.
Yeah.
Everything.
There's punctuation. There's numbers.
Yeah. So like if you did a number sign, it would be dots 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
And that means what follows is a number, not a letter.
Yeah.
And then there's what do they call it? Grade 2
Grade
Braille.
2 is like the shortened versions.
So one symbol can stand for a whole word.
Oh, I see.
So
well, that simplifies things a little bit.
It's a very long process to learn all of that.
Sure.
So it starts in preschool and it just keeps going forever.
My word. And is there music in Braille as well?
Yeah. It's a little more challenging because I have to read it with one hand and try to play it with the other. Sometimes I could sing it, like I could record myself humming it. But it's really hard. It's like if you put a dot 6, that means it's a quarter note. If you use dots 3, it turns into a half note and so forth. And
that's remarkable. That I hope Lorenzo captures that in the film, because that would be really something very, very interesting for all of us to see, that kind of process. Well, let's see if Tom's found that song.
How about if we play, can we do In the Moment?
Sure,
yeah,
let's do that.
One of my songs.
That is an original song.
Yeah, it's one of my originals.
That Rachel
Mom wrote the
Flowers
words for it.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's right. You did write the lyrics.
Yeah.
Here we go.
have a beautiful voice.
Thanks.
I love it.
Me too.
And you mix everything yourself, right? You have a
Yes.
second track of your own voice in there. Describe your studio to us. What is it like?
It's it's in my bedroom.
So it is your bedroom.
Yeah.
I think the bed is an afterthought. And so what else is in there?
I have my computer keyboard. I use I have my computer keyboard to do all the recording with a screen reader. It's a desktop it's like a really old computer, and we're thinking on getting a new one to enhance my orchestrations and stuff. But for now, I have that. I have my Nord keyboard, which I use to do pianos, the piano parts, and I use my Yamaha keyboard to use all the other things for the most part. And I have some microphones and some guitar, a few guitars. And
The flute, of course,
Flute,
some
yeah.
headphones,
yes.
speakers, amplifiers, that
All
sort
that
of
stuff.
thing. I don't see how the bed actually fits, personally, but that's so very cool because it's a small room like we're in now,
Yeah.
and it's probably well insulated, correct? No? It's
I'm
just
not
you
quite
produce this amazing sound there.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, wow. Did I mention wow? Very amazing. Is your keyboard a Braille keyboard?
No.
No.
It has a screen. It has a speech voice.
Oh.
It's built in. Well, it depends on the computer. You have to get the thing. It's called. Well, on a PC, they have a thing called JAWS, which is the screen reader. So it'll read to you what's on the screen, and instead of using a mouse, you use the QWERTY keyboard on your computer. You just use the letters on the computer keyboard, and the program I use is Sonar, which works with an early version of JAWS because it doesn't work with the new version. But I'm able to go to all the different parameters, like I could control like reverbs and mixing and all that stuff. And so it's a lot of fun.
Boy, I bet it's a lot of fun. It'd be fun to watch you do this. Do you do this every day?
Pretty much.
Pretty much every single day. And when did you set up this amazing sound studio? At what age did you have all this together already?
Well, we finally got it together a couple years ago.
But prior to that, you had little bits and pieces, and you were able to kind of build on that and build on that and
Yeah.
write music. And, Mom, you write the lyrics from time to time, often, or just once in a while?
Well, this was the first collaboration we've done. I started
Yeah.
writing songs when I was 12.
Wow.
So I have a few of my own backed up. But that's the first one I've done with her.
Yeah.
And we have a few others that we're
Like to have some words for.
working on.
Working on words. Yeah, I've been watching you guys on Facebook for a little while, and I know that you posted up a comment, Jeanie, about how some songs are just right there, and other songs float around out there somewhere in the universe, and then they all of a sudden gel. It could take years for a song to finally land, as it were. And so are we talking about some of these songs that you've had since the coffee house time and that steel guitar of your own? Are you talking about remaking some of those?
Well, there's one in particular that Rachel's helping me to start record now. It's just one of those things. The words just never work quite right. It's like something in the back of your mind. You know what you want to say, but it just doesn't come together right away.
I understand. Well, the name of the film that Lorenzo DeStefano is making, and kind of a documentary style of filmmaking. He's very good at it, so it's more storytelling, and there's a little mystery involved and so forth, and it's going to be beautiful. It's called Hearing is Believing. Now, I want to ask you a question, Rachel. For the process that you go through to give birth to a song is internal. So teach us how you see nature's spirit. Does it start in a dream?
Usually it starts in a dream, like I'd hear something, like like in a dream I'd hear a little piece of a song, and sometimes if I have my machines out, I can record myself sort of humming it or playing it on the piano. Other times I'd be listening to some music, and sometimes I would sort of think about something. And
It just sort of morphs in a way. Does it just sort of form internally, and then you try it out on the piano a little bit and think about it some more? Because I studied music when I was 6 years old, and I played a little bit of classical piano, and I too played the flute in the junior high marching band. So I was kind of amazed because I never tried the two at once. So I was particularly amazed that you can do both, because I know usually you have to hold on to that flute. Well, I had to hold on to the flute with 2 hands.
Yes.
So I know the process is very, very internal. I know how it stirs you up. It kind of starts somewhere in your gut level. It can come in a dream. It can come in a memory. It can come from another song. It's sort of a soup. It's like an alphabet soup, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's sort of how it was for me too. So can you add to that in any way as to where the magic is?
I don't really know. Kind of like what kind of, like, I'm not quite sure.
Yes, I understand. I know it's hard to explain. It is really hard to explain.
Yeah.
It really is. But it does seem to come from another plane of some kind. That's why I say it might be nature's spirit, perhaps.
It's probably like, I guess because like whatever music I'm in, like the certain music I'm in the mood to listen to, sometimes I'm in a very particular phase of style or artist or singer or musician or
singer, what have you. Yeah, you said singer, drummer, guitarist, flautist. Yes, I understand. And your range is huge. I mean, you go from John Coltrane to Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and Spencer earlier was just like chopping it all up and telling us everything about all the things that he enjoyed about your music. I think he may have another one keyed up for us. Is that right? You got something teed up?
I want to go with more Zappa.
Here we go. Some more Zappa by Rachel Flowers on all the parts.
Yep. Take a Pebble.
That's the name of this song?
What
was the name of that song?
Let me do this. This was Zoodlers that I heard. Let's see.
I also heard Take a Pebble coming from the studio sessions.
That's so amazing.
Me too.
Her ears are like beyond ours in conception. We heard what you heard, listeners. But while we were doing that, Rachel Flowers was hearing something else in the background, and so
I was hearing "Take a Pebble" from the studio sessions. It's like bing, 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 bing.
Wow, that's really cool that you could hear that. Very, very interesting. And now, what was the name of the song we just played by
Zappa? The Zoodlers.
Zoodlers, that's what it was, and that's beautiful. Your rendition of it, just terrific.
Thanks.
So this is one of those questions that's hard to answer also. It's hard to say who your favorite artist is, but
I know.
Oh, incredible. But I do know somebody posted up the 10 top albums of all times.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and we had on that list. Actually there's 17, but I'm going to do 10.
Okay.
If I Could Only Remember My Name, David Crosby. These are songs.
I think my mom's list.
Oh, this is Mom's list. Okay, she tried to keep it to the albums that were life-changing, and in no particular order. This is Mom's list. There's a lot of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young.
Yeah.
Netherlands by Dan Fogelberg. Denver's, that's Airy. Close to the Edge by Yes. That's one of my favorite albums.
Close to the edge, down by the river.
Yeah, I have Yes songs on my little phone that I Stairmaster to.
That is my all-time
big fan of
one
long distance runaround since I did a couple of marathons.
Perfect.
Long distance runaround.
That's an amazing song. Maybe we'll close the show with that one because that's a cool song. And I don't know if you have a cover online.
I never done that one.
Oh, well, now you will. Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere by Neil Young. Silvermorning, Kenny Rankin, Court and Spark, Joni Mitchell. The Pretender, Jackson Browne, Somewhere I've Never Traveled. Ambrosia. Now, what are your 10 top, if you can say? And I know that's just for today because that'll change tomorrow. Tell us a few.
Oh, let's see. There's Bitches Boo by Miles Davis. Miles Davis, Live Evil.
Do you have that cover on SoundCloud or on YouTube?
I don't.
Okay. It's another one we're going to expect to hear. There'll be Rachel Flowers Part 2.
Yeah. Mahavishnu Orchestra, The Lost Trident Sessions.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Incredible.
I saw them in the days with John McLaughlin sitting cross-legged on the floor.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Gee.
That's cool.
Very.
With Stanley Clark.
Wow.
I'm dropping names.
Big time.
The bass player.
Yeah. School days.
Yep. Let's see, what else?
Stevie Winwood with the Spencer Davis Group, Georgia. Like that one?
Let's see, I'm trying to remember some of the other ones that I really
I know you had a Stevie Wonder on the list.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Songs in the Key of Life, Stevie Wonder.
Sure.
Herbie Hancock's.
Butterfly.
It was a best of.
The Best of album?
It has,
Headhunters, back with that day.
It has Maiden Voyage, and it also has like Chameleon and Actual Proof and all that stuff. What else?
And she's only 20, folks. This is Rachel Flowers, musical genius.
John Coltrane's A Love Supreme.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing. If you're just tuning in, this is Lyn Fairly, and this is the Lyn Fairly and Fabulous Friend Show. I have an amazing artist, 3, actually, in the studio. Rachel Flowers is an incredible, talented musician at 20 years old. Her mom, Jeanie Flowers, who also kind of kick-started the whole thing because she's a talent in her own right. And one of our favorite friends, Lorenzo DeStefano. Welcome, Lorenzo. Welcome back.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
I think this is maybe your 3rd time or 4th time here. I don't know how many. Last time you were here, you were with Kathy Zuckerman, Gidget.
Yeah.
Remember the Gidget
Ventura Film Society related.
Very
visit.
much so.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, what most people know you for here in our local area, besides the fact that you won Art Entrepreneur of the Year, I think, year before last?
Oh, the mayor's thing.
The mayor's.
2012.
2012.
Arts leader.
Arts
Entrepreneur,
leader.
I don't know about that.
Well, you are an entrepreneur, producer and director of the current film, Herring is Believing, starring Rachel Flowers, about her life. It's a documentary. Originally from Honolulu, Lorenzo DeStefano is the founder and director of the Ventura Film Society, a member-based cinema cooperative now in its 3rd, 4th, 5th year.
6th.
Yeah. Wow. Where did this time go? Because when I first interviewed you, it was,
I guess.
3rd.
Right.
How about that? Full-time resident since 2006, but Ventura's been part of your life since the mid-'80s. Working out of L.A., you became friends with Art City founder Paul Linhart, a key figure also in the city's artistic evolution. Writer, filmmaker, editor, has participated in many projects in theater, fiction, nonfiction, documentaries, writer, director of an interesting film that I think at the moment is on the shelf just because of Rachel Flowers. We had a music feature about the Beatles of 1960. The Edge of Time, Los Zafiros?
Los Zafiros. The Sapphires from Cuba. Yeah.
And I remember that was on last year, a legendary Cuban pop group, and then Talmage Farlow, a PBS documentary, a definitive portrait of the great American jazz guitarist Tal Farlow, and on and on and on. So talk to us, Lorenzo, about your current project, please.
Sure. Well, Rachel and Jeanie have heard this before, so Don't yawn on the radio. But
no snoring.
We met. I met them January 18th, kind of a day they'll never forget. Like Pearl Harbor and those kind of days.
Oh, cute.
Like the whole year, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
That
and
was
according
only,
to them, you've been stalking them ever since.
Oh yeah. I hang outside the window. And stuff like that. No, well, Hans Otzen, who you know.
Yes,
Lynn,
he's been on the show.
Guitar player.
His parents, Linda and Henning, musical people in the area. He said to me, "You got to come hear my new group with Adam Clark and Rachel Flowers at Squash Grapes, a little wine bar on Main Street."
Squash Grapes is amazing.
Yeah, it's a lovely little place. We give them a little plug. So I went down there with Rudy Calderon, a percussionist friend of mine, and we were suitably floored, by the trio and by Rachel. And as I told you earlier, Lynn, having made 2 music films before and lost money on them, it was like, do I want to do another one? And over this couple of months, we sort of did stalk each other a little bit. They checked me out because I think they'd been approached by some filmmakers before that didn't go anywhere, and so they were appropriately skeptical.
Sure. No,
a lot of people will say things and never do them. Because it's a big commitment. As I explained to them, it's not something to be taken lightly, doing a thing like this together. It's a lifetime relationship. Anyway, after a couple of months, I popped the question, and it seemed like the timing was right. And so from January 18th, we started filming in late March, which was, for me, lightning speed,
Yeah, usually your projects take years.
Right.
Yeah.
And this will take time to complete, but we've already filmed 23 days since late March. Just filmed the other day with Taylor Eichste, a pianist from the Bay Area who Rachel admires a lot, who she studied with at Stanford, a master class up at Stanford.
Huge supporter of me, too.
Yeah, big supporter. She plays Magnolia, one of his compositions, and several others. But anyway, so it's been a revelation to me and it was like a story that was dying to be told. I guess Rachel could have gone on without a film, for sure. But I think the film, if it turns out as well as we think it will help her move to another level, just like Libby Bull did, huh?
Yeah.
Which we staged for the film. We shot that with 9 cameras.
Oh, terrific.
The concert was produced for several reasons. Foremost was to give Rachel a new level of performance, but also selfishly for us to film it and have a lot of soundtrack album potential as well. So it was a great thing. 1,200 people came. We were blown away by the response.
Oh, that's so great. And also, I think you're on Indiegogo. Did I say that right? Indiegogo?
Yeah, we've tried our hands at crowdfunding effort. We're about 20-something days left, and we're at 60% of our goal. And so this is it's a nerve-wracking process. You have to really kind of bludgeon people, and it gets sort of irritating, frankly. But it's a way of funding now. We just asked for a small amount, 10,000, and we're at 6 now.
That's great.
So we've got 20-something days, and we're marshaling our supporters to help us pass that. It'll take us to a certain point, and then, of course, we've got months and months and months of editing.
Sure. Your specialty. So since you've got a microphone and a whole bunch of listeners, you want to tell them how to go and find it on Indiegogo?
Oh, okay. Well, basically, if you go to rachelflowersfilm.com, that's the hub of the whole thing. There are links on there to Indiegogo as well as PayPal and various ways in taking support. But they can also see a 4.5-minute video, the teaser we put together, which is pretty lovely, and it's got scenes from the movie as well as me and Rachel on camera asking people to support us if they like what they see, and it was kind of fun to collaborate with Rachel, Yeah,
you get to see her in the studio. It's very cool seeing her do what she does. It's remarkable, really. Rachel spelled Rachel. And then Flowers, of course, is Flowers. So find that website at .com.
Rachel Flowers Film, F-I-L-M.
Oh, RachelFlowersFilm.com.
Yeah.
Find her there. Check it out. Donate whatever you can. Really, every dollar helps. And thank you in advance for that very, very much, folks. Really appreciate that. Okay, do you have anything else teed up for us, Spence, that Rachel has done?
Being an Emerson, Lake and Palmer fan,
All right.
I think we could play this one. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Now there's only 19 minutes left.
19 minutes of
That's just a little. That's just a little preview.
Yeah, that's
Tarkus, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, a piano version that's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's terrific.
19 minutes of amazing.
The question is, does the audience sometimes, do you feel that you do have to play something a little easier, or?
Yeah, what was your song list at the bowl? Do you
Yeah,
remember
and
what
I'd
some
love
of it
to hear
was?
that.
Yeah, that's
that'd be
interesting.
great.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't really remember. Well,
we had 5 originals, right? And then you did some Scarlatti and
Yeah,
Debussy.
Wow.
Debussy.
Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto No. 2, first movement. So you did Dolphin Dance by Herbie Hancock.
Cool.
There's a big, and Naima was on there, of course. A big range, huh?
Yeah.
We wanted to show, it is intimidating, but so what? You know, in a way, the 20 tunes that she did showed the amazing range, and that's just a fraction.
That's just a fraction.
Yeah.
And I would take the word intimidating and sort of morph it into astonishing. Truly
Well, you'd like to get
astonishing.
your head around the talent, yeah.
Wow. On the poster I'm looking at, it says, in a world filled with music, there is a wonder in the making. There is a wonder in the making. And her name is Rachel Flowers. There's a wonder in the making. Well, that's why I asked you, where does it come from? Because those of us who aren't as talented and couldn't hear that track behind that track earlier.
Take a pebble during the Zoodlers.
Absolutely no one out there, trust me, heard that except for you. So you have a keen sense of hearing we don't have, we'll never have, which is also part of the mystery and part of what the film will cover as to what that realm is, because it's just fascinating to us that you could have this range and you could have this ability on so many levels, and you're just starting. I mean, you're 20. You've got years to go, is what I mean by that. So that's why I know it's hard to explain, but I can understand why it may originate in a dream, or maybe is it a scent that comes to you from time to time? Is it a bird chirping? I mean, is there things like that too that you can sense?
What about like when you wrote Shoreline?
Oh yeah, when I wrote Shoreline, I was just walking at Shoreline Park, and the feel of the breeze and the sun. For some reason, I was sort of imagining what it would sound like in music, just sort of like how it felt like, just like the way it felt like. I just sort of knew how it was going to translate in music and the instruments.
Wow, that's breathtaking for me, because next time I watch that's in Santa Barbara, California. Next time I walk in Shoreline Park, I'm going to see if I can sense the music and the breeze. Really, I think that's terrific, because I know I would hear the waves and the seagulls, bark, bark, you know how they do.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
How did that bird get in the studio? You know, if we have time, I should just mention that Rachel goes to the Braille Institute 3 days a week, and we filmed her there in June. And she gets up at 5:30 in the morning, gets us an access van at her house at 6:30, rides that to the Pacific View Mall, waits with some other people going up to the Braille Institute at 8 o'clock Vista bus, goes up to the Santa Barbara, gets the Braille Institute bus, goes to class for 4 hours, and takes the whole trip back by herself. And we followed her for 3 days, and it was just a revelation, because this is Rachel as she's educating herself. It doesn't stop. It's not like, oh, I've got that down. She's putting herself, she didn't need to go there, but she does, and it's socializing, right, Rach? You have friends there?
It's fun being with the people there.
Sure, it would be. And you do that trip alone? That sounds like a 3-hour one-way deal. If you're waking up at 5:30 door to door from start to finish.
Yeah, there's people that help me out there.
Holy smokes!
It's a big long day, and so
yeah, it is.
I think what we're talking about, the mystery of, like, you don't want to answer all the questions about how she does this, and because that's not what we're about. But it's the mystery. You want to let it go, but there is this self-improvement thing, which is inspirational, really.
Very, very inspirational. You do that 3 days a week?
Yeah.
That's remarkable. Plus, I think you've studied at the SoCal Conservatory of Music.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It's a while ago.
While ago.
It was mainly a lot of classical, pretty much.
And featured in 2 60-minute segments about the Music Academy for the Blind. Tell us a little bit about the Music Academy for the Blind.
Academy of Music for the Blind. That's where they practice, like, computers and, like, music technology with the screen reader and all kinds of other stuff.
Whose group is that?
David Pinto.
He's one of your teachers, huh?
Yeah. We first knew him at the conservatory. But he works at the Academy of Music for the Blind now.
He's among early teachers, which is a sequence we're hoping to do. David Pinto, Richard Taish, Grant Horrocks, and Toby Kaplan Stonefield,
flute teacher, who we did, and we did a very nice duet together.
Mozart, huh?
Yeah, we did Mozart.
So these are people who are still in Rachel's life, but who now she's on her own. But they're very fundamental people in teaching her applications for the blind and so on.
At what age did you study the SoCal Conservatory of Music?
4.
4. 4.
Yeah.
My word. This is absolutely amazing. We're going to follow this, and we'll be sure and let everyone know when the film is screened, because it will be. It's something you can find online, rachelflowersfilm.com. Rachel spelled R-A-C-H-E-L, flowersfilm.com. Follow it with me. You'll be hearing more about it from time to time. It's been such a pleasure to have you all in the studio again today. Rachel, your mom Jeanie, and Lorenzo. You're all artists in your own right. Rachel, you're absolutely off the charts. Amazing.
Thanks.
Really, really been a pleasure to have you on my show.
Thanks. It's fun.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome back, too.
Yeah.
So we'll stay in touch with Lorenzo and make sure that happens.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Good. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Can we fit a grand piano in here?
Well, you know what? We've had keyboards, we've had cellos, we've had Phil with his fiddle, which takes up a whole lot of elbow room, and we've got a drummer in the corner. We've had Randy Tico here. We've had amazing musicians in here. So it's not impossible for us to record a show with you. If you want to bring that in here, it wouldn't be live, it would be recorded. We'd set up your instruments, and we'd be able to record some music. So that is maybe what we'll do for part 2. Okay? All right.
That'll be fun.
Oh, good.
Thanks, Lyn.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. We're going to close with something that Tom's going to pick. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. It's going to take us all the way out to the end of the show. You've been listening to the Lyn Fairly and Fabulous Friends Show on News Talk 1590 KBTA. Stay tuned for Horsepower for an hour. Thank you.